Have you ever watched a moth circling a flame? It moves with a strange devotion, trembling, restless, and fearless. It circles closer and closer, drawn by something it does not understand. It knows the light will burn it, yet it cannot turn away. This simple scene, so fragile and fleeting, has inspired mystics and poets for centuries, because within it lies one of the deepest truths of the human soul. In Sufi thought, the moth and the flame are not mere symbols of nature. They are the eternal lovers, the soul and the divine. The flame represents the beloved, radiant, infinite, all-consuming. The moth represents the lover, yearning, limited, and in search of union. Their meeting is not destruction, but transformation. The moth does not truly die in the fire. It becomes the fire. The moth lives in darkness, unaware that light even exists. But one night, a faint glow appears in the distance. In that moment, something ancient awakens inside it. A pull stronger than instinct. A call that feels like memory. That first glimpse is the beginning of love. Love always begins with recognition. The soul sees something familiar, a reflection of its own origin, and starts to remember where it came from. Rumi writes, "When you are drawn to something beyond reason, it is your soul remembering its source." This is how every spiritual journey begins, with a spark that defies explanation, a whisper that says, "Go closer." The moth begins to move toward the light. It circles from afar, then dares to come closer. Sometimes it feels warmth and joy. Sometimes it retreats in fear. It is a dance between desire and caution. This is the dance of every seeker. We approach the divine, then step back. We long for closeness, but we fear losing control. The heart says yes, but the mind says no. The Sufis call this stage the dance of longing. It is beautiful and painful at once, because to move toward love is to move toward surrender. Rumi reminds us, reason is powerless in the expression of love. Love speaks a different language, the language of fire. Others see the moth and laugh. They say, "Foolish creature, don't you see you will burn?" But the moth knows something they do not. It knows that safety is not the goal. Union is. True love does not seek comfort. It seeks truth. It does not protect the self. It dissolves it. For love is not about having. It is about becoming. Hafiz wrote, "I am not afraid of burning. I am afraid of never feeling the fire." What a powerful confession. To live untouched by the flame is to live in darkness forever. The seeker, like the moth, must risk the fire, because the fire is not the end. It is the passage to light. At last, the moth dives into the flame. It does not cry, it does not resist. It enters the fire with joy, and in a single breath, it disappears. But what really happens in that moment? The moth does not vanish into nothingness. It merges into brightness. Its separate form dissolves, and only light remains. This is the state the Sufis call Fana, the annihilation of the self. It is not a physical death. It is the death of ego, pride, and illusion. It is the moment when I burns away, and only the beloved remains. Rumi said, "Die before you die, so that when death comes, you are already alive." The moth's burning is not loss. It is revelation. It becomes the very light it once sought. After Fana comes Baqa, the state of remaining in God. The lover, having died to the self, now lives in the radiance of the beloved. The moth, having burned, has become the flame itself. It no longer moves around the light. It is the light. This is the mystery of divine love. It erases you only to reveal who you truly are. It takes everything, and in return gives you infinity. Bulleh Shah wrote, "Let me burn in the fire of love. I desire nothing else. To burn in this fire is to be purified, to shed everything false until only truth remains. Love, in its highest form, is the art of disappearing beautifully. If the flame could speak, it would say, "I do not destroy, I transform. I do not burn to hurt, I burn to reveal. Come closer, lose yourself in me, and you will find that I was always you." This is how the divine calls to us, through beauty, through desire, through longing. Every ache, every wound is a letter from the beloved saying, "Come home." And the moth, the lover, is simply the heart's answer to that call. How do you know when love is real? When it begins to take you away from yourself. When you no longer ask, "What will I get?" but rather, "What can I give?" True love dissolves boundaries. It makes the I smaller and the you larger until only we remain. The Sufi says, "I was, and I was nothing. Then he loved me, and I became everything." Rumi writes, "I am yours, and you are mine. And now there is no you, no me, only love." This is the heart of all mysticism. The realization that the lover and the beloved are not two. They are the same fire, seen through different flames. We search for the flame outside, in people, in beauty, in music, in prayer. But the truth is simpler. The flame has always been inside. There is a divine spark hidden in every heart. It glows beneath fear, doubt, and pain. Every sorrow is an invitation to uncover it. Every heartbreak is a door back to that light. Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." The more the heart breaks, the more the light can shine through. So the journey is not outward, but inward. The fire we chase across the world is burning quietly within us. When the Sufi dervish whirls, he becomes the moth. His body turns around an invisible center, the same way the moth circles the flame. Each spin burns a little more of the self. Each turn melts pride, control, and separation. The dance is not performance, it is prayer. It is a surrender to gravity, to rhythm, to God. In that whirling motion, the dervish disappears, and only movement remains. A dance of light, a dance of becoming. Rumi said, "When you dance, your purpose is not to get to a certain place on the floor. It's to enjoy each step along the way." The dance of the Sufi, the circling of the moth, the orbits of planets, all are movements of love. Because the entire universe is whirling around a hidden flame. Every human carries a little moth inside. It beats its wings whenever we feel longing, whenever beauty moves us to tears, whenever silence feels sacred. Sometimes it flies toward another person, sometimes toward art, music, or prayer. But in truth, it is always flying toward God, the eternal light behind all forms. The Sufis say, "Your task is not to seek for love, but to find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." The moth does not build barriers. It only flies. If we could love like that, without calculation, without fear, we too would find the light waiting for us. Before the moth ever finds the divine flame, it learns the language of fire in smaller ways. In human love, in beauty, in friendship, in loss, the soul catches reflections of the greater light. Every attachment, every heartbreak, every longing that seems too human is, in truth, a lesson written by the beloved's hand. The Sufis say there are two kinds of love: ishq-e-majazi, the love of forms, faces, and moments, and ishq-e-hakiki, the love of the Eternal One. Worldly love is the mirror through which we glimpse the real. When the mirror breaks, the seeker realizes that what they adored in another was never the person. It was the divine shining through. Human love trains the heart to recognize beauty. Divine love teaches it to see beauty everywhere. The moth first circles the candle of human affection, but once it feels that heat, it begins to search for the source of all flames, the fire that never dies. At the end of the journey, the moth reaches the flame. There is no more fluttering, no more circling, no more distance, only stillness, only light, no I, no you, just the quiet glow of union. In that silence, there is no need for words, no need for music, because everything has become music. This is what the mystics call the peace of oneness. The fire no longer burns. It simply is. The moth and the flame are no longer two. They have become one light. The story of the moth and the flame is not about death. It is about awakening. It is the story of every soul that dares to love beyond itself. It teaches us that real love is not about possession. It is about surrender. It does not promise safety. It promises truth. The moth's death is not tragedy. It is the moment it becomes what it loved most. The same is true for us. When we let go of who we think we are, we discover who we've always been. Light, pure, and eternal. In the fire of divine love, nothing is truly lost. Only illusions burn. What remains is what has always been real. The soul, the flame, and the endless dance between them. Every soul is a moth. Every heart hides a flame. Some stay in the shadows, content with the safety of darkness. Some dare to fly close and are forever changed. Those who burn do not vanish. They become light for others to follow. So if you ever feel the pull of the flame, do not be afraid. It is not calling you to die. It is calling you to live. Because what the flame burns, it turns into light. And in that light, everything is love.